it is a watery White Hart Lane, but the problematic pitch protected from recent downpours here by plastic sheeting, which was taken off a couple of hours ago. Ian Wones did need a Saturday morning inspection on a sore knee, but he plays, and so too does the other two-goal hero from the first meeting, Chris Armstrong, whose twisted ankle also passed the check an hour or so before kick-off. Jason Dazell's yellow card in the snowstorm at the City Ground took him into the realms of suspension. A two-game ban begins today, so Clive Wilson is switched into midfield. Justin Edinburgh, who's missed 6 games, returns at left-back, and there's also the anticipated recall for Ronnie Rosenthal in place of the cup-tied Andy Sinton. Forest are carrying a few bumps and bruises, but the only change from the mix against Bayern Munich is Des Little regaining the right-back spot at the expense of David Phillips. Alf Inge Haaland continues in the centre of defence. Colin Cooper still recovering from the problem he picked up against Spurs 10 days ago. The sight of Stuart Pearce, such a comfort to Forest fans. The captain came through well in his comeback game in Munich. And Gary Mabbutt's presence is similarly reassuring for Spurs as he lines up for them for the 600th time. It's a great achievement for Gary. And it will surely be recorded in the annals of this famous North London club. The cockerel, the emblem here.
Subs bench, number 13, Eric Torsvet, number 14, Stuart Nethercott, and number 29, Stephen Slade.
Well, the Tottenham fans saw their side get to the semi-final last season. The disappointment of coming so close. The prize today as they honour Gary Mabbutt. A win for Spurs and a place in the quarter-finals this season. This much delayed 5th round tie. It must be settled this afternoon. And Trevor Francis with more than a passing interest in Nottingham Forest from his own playing days. Trevor, how do you see it?
Well, 10 days ago it was a difficult game to call at the City Ground, and that's the way it proved. An exciting 2-2 tie. That's why we're here today for the replay. And I feel today will be equally as tough. Very, very difficult game to call, Martin.
Forest to kick off. Both sides have reached this stage the hard way, taken to replays in rounds 3 and 4 by lower division opposition. It seemed almost inevitable, particularly after the abandonment, but it would need a second game to separate Spurs and Forest. The referee, Gary Willard, who's been in charge from the moment the ball was first kicked on that snowy night in Nottingham, getting on for 3 weeks ago. We didn't get very far then. The 2-2 draw that subsequently took place was a real thriller to make all and sundry lick their lips about the prospects of how it will be decided here at White Hart Lane. Brian Roy gets there in front of Edinburgh. Stone, who scored the winner here in the league game back in the autumn. Nottingham Forest with a wonderful record at White Hart Lane, just 1 defeat in their last 12 visits here. Wone. Sheringham gets in for top. Fox. Campbell making some ground from right back, found by Wilson. Spurs lining up in the centre. Campbell's ball had a fair amount of thought behind it. And to steer it in towards Fox. Bart Williams to Stone, on for Roy, and now for Little. Stone setting off again, dragging Rosenthal with him, and he can reposition to support Little, and now Bart Williams. Pressed by Wilson, who wins the ball fairly, for the benefit of Armstrong. And Armstrong, although all the while Teddy Sheringham keeping pace on this near side of Chris Armstrong, was trying to get the message to Armstrong that Wilson was available on the left.
Yes, that was his best option, I felt there. Chris Armstrong wasn't aware that Clive Wilson had made a good supporting run. He elected to shoot all of 30 yards. But as you could see, it wasn't any trouble for Mark Crosley.
Sheringham trying to knock it down for Fox.
It all started through Chris Park-Williams just delaying it too long, got caught in possession from Wilson. You mentioned that he didn't have a happy time last year, of course, missing them penalties against Wolverhampton Wanderers, but he also did play in an FA Cup final for Sheffield Wednesday, although that was another defeat.
Here's Woe. There's no offside. It's Brian Roy in against Ian Walker. First blood for Nottingham Forest. In the 9th minute. The side with the wonderful record coming here to play at White Hart Lane. Somehow this ground always inspires Forest. And Roy is through.
Well, there were calls for offside, but quite clearly you can see there that Edinburgh plays him onside. Roy's in the clear. His first touch isn't particularly good. It takes him too close to Walker, but his second touch is brilliant. Just lifts it over the advancing Walker. Forest in the lead.
It's his 9th goal of the season. That makes him Nottingham Forest's outright leading scorer. He was level with Ian Woan. Told you something about Forest, but no one's got more than that many. Here's Campbell. Tottenham will feel they've got the artillery in Sheringham and Armstrong, and now they will need them to be hitting the target. Pearce. Roy caught by Calderwood. The Spurs players feel that Brian Roy made a meal of that.
Well, I can't see what the complaints are about there. Brian Roy just knocked the ball off. Calderwood's come in a little bit late.
Well, with Stuart Pearce out of the side recently, of course, Ian Woan, particularly spectacularly against Ian Walker, has been taking the free kicks. But Bart Williams is the joker in the back between the two left-footers. It's his cross. Gamble to hit it first time. Campbell. Sheringham almost got lucky against Chettle. Both players guilty of a bit of miscontrol. Wilson. Holland into the back of Armstrong, and it's certainly a free kick.
I would think a booking too for it. It is a tackle from behind.
Harry Willard calls the Norwegian across. So Stone and Haaland cautioned within a matter of moments. Now, is that an indication of maybe a start in the shift of the balance of power here? Tottenham will certainly hope so. Well, it was all about Nottingham Forest free kicks at the City Ground. Now's a chance for Tottenham to show what they're made of. Will it be Sheringham? Wilson is there. Crossley's view masked a little bit by the wall. He's trying to get a sighter of it now. It's Sheringham. It's 1-1. Mark Crossley totally beaten by a splendid Teddy Sheringham set piece here. And this is certainly the 5th round tie of the free kicks.
Magnificent strike, isn't it?
Sheringham's defensive header, Stone. But the stoppage time period, typical of another enthralling half between these two great rivals. We're still nowhere any nearer knowing who Aston Villa will play in the 6th round. Brian Roy got Forest in front with an early goal. Spurs very slow to settle, and then along came Teddy Sheringham with a quite superb free kick. And at half-time at White Hart Lane in this FA Cup 5th round replay, it's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Whoa. Not Not so good with a moving ball as with the dead ball.
He was a little bit unlucky actually, because just as he was about to strike it, I think you'll find the ball just bobbles up slightly. And that forced him to shoot off target.
Place there. Fox tries again. And it gets the better of Pearce. Howells trying to put the header back across the goal. It was a good area to aim for. But Stuart Pearce, of course, who's been very short of football with his injury, was struggling then against Fox on the far side.
Yes, he hasn't got the better of Pearce on too many occasions this afternoon. Fox gets a lucky break there, puts a good ball to the back post. They actually get 2-on-1 at the back post, Spurs.
Sheringham, Tottenham have a player down. That doesn't deter Teddy Sheringham. Heads it forward. Mabbott, Armstrong trying to turn. He has turned.
Well, it was too easy, wasn't it, the way he turned? He's got his back to Bart Williams, wriggles away onto his right foot. I think he would have fancied himself there to have scored. Once he gets it onto that right foot, should be lucky to hit the target.
Great competition is full of dramatic moments. Is there another one coming up here for Chris Armstrong from a ball that bounced forward off Howells? We're now into the 5th extra minute added on by the referee. It's extra time at White Hart Lane. So the two goalkeepers are ready. The physios have done their work. And extra time begins at White Hart Lane. Howells. One of a number of players carrying injuries from the exertions to this point.
Yes, but the way he burst through here suggests that he's completely recovered from that knock he took. That's certainly been confirmed, the way he went past Pearce.
Sheringham. Rosenthal's cross, it comes to Fox. Those kind of ricochets, if they're with you, well, as it was for Mark Crossley, the ball came very comfortably. On another day, at another time, it might have ended up in the back of the Forest net.
Yes, it was a poor cross from Ronnie Rosenthal. Fox had good fortune because it fell straight to him. And his shot was well blocked.
Phillips. Oh, it's through Edinburgh. And McGregor, is this the moment for him, for the substitute? Ian Walker coming off his line, got in the way, and two to McGregor's right for Nottingham Forest, turned away, feeling that McGregor had picked the wrong option. To say Colin Cooper, who we mentioned earlier, who was injured in the first match between these two clubs. Fox, Ronnie Rosenthal is in here, and it's off the line brilliantly by Pearce. When they were composing their celebrations in most parts of the ground. Wilson brings down McGregor and he's going to be booked.
Magnificent defending this from Pearce. He reads the danger. Great little chip from Rosenthal. Brilliant defending from Pearce. That's how Roy scored the goal. That's what McGregor should have done some 10 minutes ago. Rosenthal did it and was unlucky not to score.
after this, after an enthralling 2 hours, the sparkle really in the first half of regulation time, when the 2 goals were scored by Roy and by Sheringham. As Trevor was saying, the defenders certainly got to grips with it after that. Some brilliant examples of those particular arts. A fine save from Paul McGregor by Ian Walker. A wonderful clearance off the line by Stuart Pearce to stop Ronnie Rosenthal winning it for Spurs. Mark Crossley, who knows a thing or two about saving penalties. Will he be the trump card for Nottingham Forest?
Well, although the 2 managers would have already discussed prior to the game just who's going to take them, obviously there may have been 1 or 2 substitutions that would have affected their penalty taking. They've also probably asked the players if they really feel confident to take them at this moment.
Thank you. And we'd also like to remind all supporters that except in an emergency, it is an offence.
Well, Chris Bart-Williams, who of course missed the penalty at Hillsborough, Sheffield Wednesday against Wolves in the first match last season, in that drama that went on to Molineux, and a penalty shootout in which Chris Waddle also brought back memories of the World Cup semi-final of 1990, as Stuart Pearce will if he steps forward here.
Well, Stuart Pearce has already grabbed the ball. Does that suggest he's going to take the first?
It suggests he wants to get on with it. He's rolled the ball forward. What is certain at the moment is that the episode will take place at the right-hand end of the ground. And indeed, whether it's just a case of getting up there and getting it over with, more likely it's a case of I'm going to set the right example here for the Nottingham Forest captain.
Well, he's done that all afternoon. Considering his lack of fitness, he's been absolutely superb.
Well, Pearce will place the ball on the penalty spot and look at a wall of Tottenham faces behind that goal. Stuart Pearce in a penalty shootout again. He starts this one at White Hart Lane against Ian Walker, and he buries it. And he's quite prepared to take a bow, even though there are not too many cheers for him behind that particular goal. 1-0 to Forest.
Well, there's not a lot the manager can do at this moment, but I'm sure Frank Clark would settle for 5 penalties like that.
A year ago, Clive Wilson, with a penalty, put Queen's Park Rangers into the quarter-final against Millwall. And indeed, QPR have certainly missed Clive's expertise from the penalty spot in recent weeks. But he's failed for Tottenham. Mark Crossley, who saved that Gary Lineker penalty in the 1991 FA Cup final at Wembley, has saved here from Wilson.
Moves slightly early, reads it well, and in the end it's a comfortable save for Crossley.
Now, Forest have the advantage, but it's still early days. Brian Roy is the second player to step up for Frank Clark. And Walker makes a pretty comfortable stop. It's not over yet by any means.
Not a good penalty that from Roy. Too central. Walker makes quite an easy save. We've had 3 penalty takers so far, all left footers. It's about time we got a right footer.
Well, it's Ronnie Rosenthal, and I would think it's going to be more of the left foot, is it? This to level it at 1-1. And another stop by Crossley, who went a long way and read Rosenthal's mind.
It's interesting that we've had 4 left-footers and 3 out of 4 have taken the kick across their body to the keeper's left-hand side.
There's definitely another left-footer coming now because it's Ian Woe.
It'll be interesting to see if he puts it to Walker's left-hand side.
Wone, who scored a penalty in the FA Cup this season at Oxford. High into Walker's net. 2-0 to Forest.
Well, this is unstoppable. Perhaps if the keeper stands his ground, doesn't move, he may get his hand to it, but I would think the force of the shot would still have beaten Walker.
Well, Spurs still looking to register in the shootout. Rule Fox. And he hammers it past Crossley.
It's about time they had a right footer. Thinking penalties, you need to mix it up a bit. It's like cricket. One fast bowler from one end, one spinner from the other end. Gets the batsman thinking, as it does in penalty shootouts with a goalkeeper. One left footer, one right footer.
Well, there's no change for Nottingham Forest in that respect because it's going to be Steve Chettle. And he scores. Nottingham Forest are getting very close indeed.
This is a brilliant penalty from Chettle. Like Pearce, done very little wrong all afternoon. Finishes off in good style. That was a penalty in the mode of Stuart Pearce, driven hard and low to the keeper's left. Terrific power, terrific accuracy.
So it rests for Tottenham with Teddy Sheringham. Mark Crossley saved a penalty from Sheringham in the league game here last season. And he's done it again, and Nottingham Forest, they're through to the quarter-finals thanks to a magnificent display of goalkeeping in the shootout by Mark Crossley, who sets off for the Forest fans at the other end of the ground. He saved from Wilson, he saved from Rosenthal, and here he saves from Teddy Sheringham.
Well, that's a magnificent save. Sheringham strikes it, accurate enough with power. Brilliant save from Crossley.
And Forest have that winning feeling at White Hart Lane yet again, but it's been a long, long haul. Spurs go out on their own ground. Great disappointment for Jerry Francis and his players, who so desperately wanted to go all the way after the despair of being losing semi-finalists last season. But Nottingham Forest, Frank Clark looks the coolest man in the ground, and I can't believe that for a minute. Forest live on to fight another day, and that day is nearby. Next Wednesday at the City Ground, when they take on Aston Villa in the 6th round. Thoughts of Bayern Munich and Europe put on hold. Plenty of progress domestically as well. Nottingham Forest are through in the FA Cup on the skill of their goalkeeper and the drama of a penalty shootout.